What's up, everybody? Story so far, part five. Here we go.
Here we go.
So, we talked about a little intro on Monday. We did giving on Tuesday. Wednesday was Money free. Thursday was Main Street update. And today we're giving you an update on the land on Ridgeland. So, Sarah and Steven are back again, ready to share some goodness with us. And so, if you are new to second place, what you should know is that we are in the process of purchasing about 20 acres of land on Ridgeland, about a mile and a half south of where the warehouse is and where we used to meet. And so, about 5 minutes from Monee Free, it's all kind of like happening together. We've got like Monee surrounded, Main Street on the east side,
The triangle.
Monee Free, yeah. And then, so it's all good. So we're excited about it. I'm sure you could say better, but the landowners have allowed us to be on the land, working on the land, and having school up there, transitioning to a forest school while we're at Camp Manitoba. And now we just started year 2 with the forest school on the land up there. So
Yep.
it's crazy. So I'm gonna just kind of like
We're gonna start with
turn it
Steven.
over. We're gonna start off
Yeah.
with Steven of the Naprikowskis. Steven,
Awesome.
take it away while I sit here and look at you awkwardly from very close.
This is great. This is great. And rather be anywhere else here. So there's some kind of exciting news. Every time I give an update about land, it seems like, hey, we made a verbal commitment. We've done, we've got the principle of agreement in place and signed that. So I'm here to give some good news again that we're probably within days of signing the purchase agreement. Now, what does that mean? Does not mean that we have full control of it yet. But what it does mean is once we sign those papers, we have a timeline to close on the property, which means we have 30 days for an examination period, and then 45 days following that period, we will hopefully close. That can happen sooner, but those will set set in stone the timeline for it. So barring any unforeseen circumstances, I think we're going to finish out 2022 with the land in our name, which is an awesome, exciting time. I will say that I think it's important to kind of reflect back on where we came from with that. This whole process, and Sarah's explained just the connections that were made to even have this come into fruition at all. But it's really a godsend, a God provision for us to even be here right now. And it's just something that no one could ever dreamed of if we were told that this was going to happen, a year and a half ago, whenever it started. I don't know that we would have believed it 100%, other than just trusting in God. So with that said, though, I know we talked on Tuesday about the giving and all that good stuff, but we mentioned Malachi 3 in there, and just to give a real life example of seeing God's promise and God's provision and God's blessing come out, and just be able to embrace that in real time. I just wanted to just touch on that real quick again. Malachi 3:10 through 12. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, so there will be enough food in my temple. If you do, says the Lord of Heaven's armies, I will open the windows of heaven for you. I will pour out a blessing so great you won't have enough room to take it in. Try it. Put me to the test. Your crops will be abundant, for I will guard them from insects and disease. Your grapes will not fall from the vine before they are ripe, says the Lord of Heaven's armies. And here's the last part I really want to focus on to tie this into with the land. Then all nations will call you blessed, for your land will be such a delight, says the Lord of Heaven's armies. Now, I'm sure Sarah is about to talk about a lot of great things that are happening on the land, but I just want to encourage us to realize that this is something just sent from God, and the blessings that we're seeing from being faithful as a church, as a community, and as individuals that make up this church, in our tithes, the 10% that we give as a church, the 10% that we give as a community, as individuals, and the provisions that God is sending to us and giving us to be able to take care of this land. I could promise I can show you from my own life, my kids, when they're at the land, it's a delight. They love it. My wife loves it when we're at the land. There are just things about it. There's been new visitors that they come there and their eyes light up, and it's like, this is amazing. This is something that that they see the vision right off the bat. So again, just a real life example of seeing God's work in and through the church, and I think that this is something that we can really just focus on, and we can celebrate here hopefully in a couple of days when that purchase agreement is done, and even more so when the closing's done. But even in today's day and age, or today's day, we have the ability to use that land, and that's a lot from Integrals. They're Integral, the company that owns the land right now. Just their generosity, just their ability to just let us use it and be part of it, even during this whole process. Their ability to kind of be just very forthcoming and very lenient in what we need, the terms we need to be able to purchase it. They've been awesome about it. So I mean, just a huge thank you and shout out to them. We just pray that God blesses them, and I think they are being blessed. But just God just continue works through that company as well. But again, I'll turn it over to Sarah. I'll stop rambling, but I think it's just an important. Just really take a moment to just really soak in what God's doing on this land.
Yeah, it's a powerful testimony. I mean, from the time that we had the first conversation and we said, "Why are you bringing us up here?" It felt a little mean spirited, like you purchased the land, we can't be here. To the point where we're at now, saying, "Oh, we are going to be able to purchase it," but they have been so gracious in this whole process. And I think some of us kept thinking, is this too good to be true? Like, they're going to just let us be up on the land and use it. If anyone knows us very well, they know we know how to move into a space and take over. So we've even done that on the land. And they've just been so kind to let us do that with the school. So Natural Discovery started as a full child care center, 6 weeks to 6 years old. And when we decided to move out of the warehouse, it basically closed the child care center. We had no idea how long we would be gone. We had no idea what the next stages were going to be for the church. But Natural Discovery probably took the hardest hit as far as being able to pivot with the church and the building. Provision Lab was able to find a way to continue giving meals and food to families. The church was able to find places that we could fit in and move. And the child care center, that was just not a reality because you have to be licensed, and there were just too many things that went around that. But what it did allow us to do is to pivot, for us to be able to recognize that we aren't necessarily going to be a child care center anymore, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to naturally discover. And so we were at Camp Manitoba and switched to a bit more of a forest school setting, which worked great for families who weren't comfortable having their kids in a school during COVID. We were able to do school completely outside. And then in that time, we realized, okay, I think this is a good fit for us. Let's see how we can do that. And Camp Manitoba was like, yeah, this is a great fit for us too. So we're going to need you guys to be done. And we were like, all right, so now what? And the owners of the land were just so gracious to say, come on up, try it, see if you can make something work here. And so last year we started meeting up there during the school year with our homeschool families. And this year we're back and we added preschool. So we've been doing school for 2 weeks now. And our new families are just like, wow, this is amazing. And I tend to be a little more critical probably, maybe there's a nicer word for critical, but I want it done. Like, I see the land complete. I know what the buildings up there are going to provide for us. I know what having the space for the children is going to do. I know what having places for us to do sports outside, and I see it all finished, and we're not there yet. We don't own the land yet, and we don't have the money ready to do the other things. And so I think the delight verse is so powerful for me in Malachi, because I'm able to take a step back and say, no, God, you're the one who brings delight. It's not the buildings. It's not the things that we're going to do on this land. It's being light in darkness there. And the land's already doing that. It's already providing that opportunity for families. But it is going to be really important as a church body for us to recognize the This is not a division of vision when we talk about Main Street or we talk about Monee Free and the land, but it's actually all working together, and God has made provision for us to be able to continue to meet in a really stable setting with Monee Free. And what it does for Natural Discovery right now with outbuildings on the land is gives us an opportunity to have somewhere to go when weather isn't fabulous and we can't meet outside. That building is giving us a way to be able to continue to meet and not have to cancel school. But we want to get on the land sooner than later, and we have been fortunate to not have to be making payments on that. And as a church, we are still debt free. So what I am believing for is this land to not have a long-term mortgage with that. I believe that God is going to make provision for this land to be paid for so that we can be about the business. We need to get to that building getting done and getting all of these things happening on the land. And again, not to get rid of Main Street, and I don't even think to say that we're done necessarily at Monee Free, but to recognize that they each are offering a different opportunity, and they're working together in a way that God is providing in Monee through Second Place. And so we want to just keep our eyes focused on that, and I think taking these little wins of saying, okay, we're going to own that land, and we're going to be we're going to hold it lightly, loosely, and allow God to tell the story that he wants to tell. But the next thing that needs to happen once we do own the land is a pretty big spend. And that's for some architectural drawings that need to be finalized and done. And that's probably in the realm of the $75,000 to $100,000 for us to get that next phase going. And it really starts the domino of everything. So once we get those plans going, then we're going to want to be ready to build. And so I think that my challenge is not just from a financial perspective that we do need to be giving. We need to know that we have that stability. And I do believe there's going to be donors who step up that say, I want to be a part of that. We already know the Will County is ready to get this happening because they love the vision of what's going to happen on the land. But I think it's really more all of us getting our heart in a position to say, okay, God, whatever you have for us, we want to be ready for that. And it's going to be an all hands on deck. I mean, I'm in my land attire right now. I didn't get ready for y'all because there's some of this that's just work. It takes time and effort to get the land mowed and to have it ready for people to show up and be up there. But I am so excited for what I think the next steps and the phases are of that. But it is going to be a huge leap for us from a management perspective and a monetary perspective. And so we know that God's just been getting us ready over the last couple of years. We thought, oh, what's the big deal? How hard is it? Turns out it's hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of energy, but we're getting stronger. I think getting stronger physically and then getting stronger just in our spirit to know that, no, we know what God's voice sounds like, and I'm very confident in what he has called us to as a second place community, and I'm ready to go and do that work. So.
I think one of the things that you need to remember is that there's been a lot of seed planted, no pun intended, at the land.
But if you don't, a lot of seeds literally.
Yes, if you don't know, that land was owned by a church, Living Creek Church, and they are the ones who then they had the full, I think, almost 50 acres, and then they sold to Integral. That's the name of the company that owns all of it, and who we happened to find a connection with, and they prayed. Living Creek prayed on that land for 15 plus years. And so there was good seed planted there and vision, and so we are walking out a little bit of that, and it's because of the faithfulness of really his church, Big C, back 15, 20 years ago when they had vision to have something happen on that land. And so I think we don't want to scooch too far past that without recognizing that we're benefiting from the faithfulness of others as well. Same thing with Monee Free. That church, 150 years old. There's been a lot of seed planted at that church, a lot of faithful, just hardworking people that put in long hours getting that facility ready in 1980 to open up to a community, to reach a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of folks from Piatone years ago came to Monee Free. A lot of people prayed in there. A lot of people gave their heart to the Lord there. And all of that is good seed, and that is all groundwork that was done. And here we are, kind of in a way, carrying the baton forward. There's been vision for Main Street before we were there. There's been people that have been praying about that building and wanting to see something happen there. So I guess in some ways, as you think about what you're a part of and what the story is so far, it's that there is a very unique moment that we are sitting in as a church where all of this is kind of like building and coming together seemingly all at once, but also seemingly very slowly in some ways and very quickly in others. And so I guess I just want to pause and say that, and I want to leave you with Romans 1:17, which has been on my heart lately, and that is that the righteous shall live by faith. And side note, the video on Wednesday morning was about Monee Free and wanting to get things painted. And we had an initial gift that had come in prior to that video that allowed us to go really with confidence, go get the paint for the foyer. But we also were wanting to kind of game plan for the rest. And we started to do that. We really have been operating, trusting the Lord that as we take steps of faith, that's how we're going to live. We're going to live by faith. And so how many decisions in a day do you make, do we make that are based on faith in God, that if God doesn't show up, it doesn't happen? And you guys have been such a blessing to walk with us through that, to be on the land. We've had some folks, are you sure you really want to develop the land before you own it? And it's but we believe by faith that this is where we're supposed to be. We were making some adjustments to Monee Free as we were trusting by faith that this is where we're supposed to be. And so, same thing with Main Street. We purchased the building before we knew that we would have any help in renovating it. So I think that what you're a part of is you're a part of a group of people that, well, as Paul says, if we're crazy for God. And it's just trusting and taking those steps of faith, not unwise, not without discernment, not irresponsible, but truly prayer covered, prayer saturated, trusting the Lord by faith to show up and to watch what he does, and to know that there's been all kinds of connections that have been happening behind the scenes to allow for 2022 to happen, is just a real humbling thing. And so I think what you need to know is we need you to go all in. I don't have a plan B. I don't have a plan B right now. So it's kind of it's all in, and it's an all play, and it's rally, put your rally caps on, the whole deal. And I just think that if I could encourage you with anything is, if you've been, again, kind of watching what's been going on the side, I got paint all over my hands. Jeez. If you've been watching from the sidelines, my encouragement to you is to go all in, because if you sense the Lord leading you that direction, let's do it. Some of you need to go all in just to say, okay, second place is home. Some of you need to go all in and begin to give. Some of you need to go all in and get baptized. Hello. And all of those things are all in moves. And I really believe that God's calling us to go all in. And it's, jump in. The water's warm. It's great. It's crazy out here. But honestly, we couldn't do it. We wouldn't want to do it by ourselves. And so love you guys. I think we're good.
Yeah.
And great job. And we'll see you soon. I don't know if there's a story so far, part 6. Didn't plan one. But if something if something pops in the next 24 hours, I'll have to throw it down. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Take care. Have fun. Get after it, I suppose.